Wow. I'm here to charge you $800,000 for a pair. And there's nothing you can do about it. You're gonna pay for the $800,000 jeans. Hello, Strawberry and Nesquik. I got every the hookah. Yes, charging you 100 billion quadrillion buccarinos for a pair of jeans. Rest in peace to my granny. I hit by a bazooka. I think about it every time I hit the hookah. I low-key hate the uncle, bro. Not the uncle. The hunting Jose mission. All right, Unc.
Ow! Whoa, whoa!
Careful not to work yourself to death there, Uncle.
I was thinking.
Yeah, does it pay well?
Oh, eventually.
So, while the rest of us are busy stealing, killing, lying, fighting to try to survive, you get to think all day.
Hello,
Yeah,
Carolina.
it's a strange world we live in, Arthur Morgan.
Do you want to head into town? See if we can find anything out?
Sure, I got some errands to run.
Great. Go check the horses are ready.
For
You gonna take the old man into town? You take us too?
Well, what you got planned?
Nothing. We'll find something for y'all to do. We always do.
We're bored out of our minds. Been cooped up here for 2 weeks now. Karen's about ready to murder Grimshaw.
Well, can Miss Grimshaw spare you?
Can Miss Grimshaw spare you? What's happened to you, Arthur? 3 young, healthy women want you to take them a
I was
ride.
aware of that,
You're
actually.
worried about house chores. Let's go.
Fair enough. You got me. Come on then.
I can't believe we're going to see civilization. Feels like weeks since we did.
Yeah, Valentine. Very embodiment of civilization. Ladies are gonna love it.
Okay then. Let's go.
All right. Out through the trees here, then take a left.
Yeah.
Peanut butter jelly time.
Ladies,
Peanut butter jelly
that's a
time.
song. Go right here. It's quicker.
So I don't go down there no more. There's a blue horse laying outside her door. I had a girl in Valentine. Likes to drink that fancy wine. Blue in her hat was 2 feet tall. Cracking her pants paid for it all. I had a girl in Berryville. Can't get her 'cause she won't say
Look at that coach. He's all over the place.
Won't take lessons and dollars.
Damn it! Oh, get the horses! Ah, this is all right.
Is one of you going to get that fella's horse?
Well, I got lumbago. It's very serious.
All right, I'll see what's going on.
All right.
Really? You all right there, friend?
Oh, hey, you couldn't help me get my other horse back from over there, could you?
Sure, no problem.
Thanks. It's the white one over there.
Easy. Easy. You're okay.
Come on.
Wait.
Something watching us in the mountain. Skibbity Barack Obama.
Here you go.
You're a gentleman, sir. A gentleman.
No, not really. I was just trying to impress the women.
Come on, let's go.
To Valentine!
You're turning into a regular old fairy godmother there, Arthur.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means you got a heart. A small one, perhaps, hidden deep inside, but a real one. And you haven't, you repulsive old lizard.
Blizzards have hearts.
Well, Arthur, I'm proud of you.
To be honest, if you lot hadn't been here, I probably would have robbed him.
Well, you did it. Woo! Smell those sheets.
Take the other way around.
Or is that Uncle?
Oh, very funny.
This don't feel right, Arthur. Feels like the wrong direction. This looks like a decent little town. Other people. Finally. Look at all that snow on the mountains. Sure don't want to be back up there.
You think we should have asked Molly to come with us?
Oh, no. Miss O'Shea is far too high and mighty now for the likes of us. Or to do any real work. She's a society lady now.
Oh, no, no, no.
Take a good look around, ladies. See what we got here.
Hi there, mister. Hey there, mister.
Go left here, down the main street. There's always on the right. Sure, you can pick up some bounties there, Arthur.
Heaven forbid you put your head on the line.
Yeah, that's a young man's game.
Ooh, yes. We can get up to some mischief here, all right.
Just remember, keep a low profile.
Will you remember that, though, Arthur?
Probably not.
Let's park up down the end there, near the stables.
Oh. Go, we're turning. We're turning.
What's your issue?
You, bitch.
All right. Here we are, just like I said. A cultural center of civilization. Man at his finest.
Uncle, what are we doing?
Well, we're gonna do what any self-respecting maniac does. Put the women to work.
With pleasure. We'll start at the saloon.
Okay, just stay out of trouble and don't get yourselves noticed.
Right, I need to get something from the stores.
Okay, well, we'll see you at the general store when you're done.
Come on, ladies. Imagine we're in Paris.
Come on.
So that's how you see yourself, is it? A maniac?
Well, in my youth, I used to be known as the one-shot kid.
Oh my god, that's true.
Okay. I'm not gonna ask why.
You are a sad man, Arthur Morgan.
Nothing's
But
about to
I know
happen.
you love me.
It's about to be a very peaceful conversation.
Desperately.
Nothing
You're
bad
my
happens to
favorite
Arthur.
parasite. No. Ringworm's my favorite parasite. You're my
My second favorite parasite.
Very funny.
I lied. Ringworm.
Damn right.
Rats with the plague.
Thank you.
Then you.
Shut up. This is the place,
Thanks.
huh? Come on.
I'm pulling it out.
Morning.
So,
Salamu alaikum.
Hell, a drop of whiskey for a start. You know, something to pass the time while we're waiting on the women.
always thinking ahead, ain't you?
You're looking a bit tired there, Arthur. Why don't you pick up some coffee while we're here?
Full stock list in the catalog here on the counter. Whiskey's on the top shelf, nearest the door.
Provisions. Let's get the bank.
You're not getting anything, Arthur?
I don't know. Maybe.
Got what we needed. Thank you. Alright, so here in a second, I'm
So,
gonna shoot and
You're
kill
actually buying for once?
the guy.
Are you feeling all right?
See this? Young folk got no respect for their elders no more.
Okay, if you're done, I'll meet you outside. I won't be too long.
Chocolate bar, sweat car, chew tobacco, burger bait, bears.
Well, look at this. A jaw harp.
What is this list of yours?
I got a lot to replenish after that god-awful time in the mountains.
All done.
Thank you kindly. Ah, this should do the trick.
Yep, that's fine whiskey.
That should do us. Let's go wait for them outside.
All the best, fellers.
Oh, here's to your good health, sir. And to being down here off that mountain.
Absolutely.
It's a funny world, you know. This time in my career, I pictured myself being married to an heiress.
Gabfest.
Gentlemen, I think I got something good.
What?
I snuck into this fancy house. Acted like a servant girl. Usually works. Someone was saying her sister was taking a trip from New York or someplace. Train full of rich tourists heading to Saint Denis and then cruising off to Brazil.
Okay.
A train laden with baggage and passing through a bit of deserted country at night.
Rich.
As to get to the docks in time for the tides.
One of the richest
Someplace
individuals
called
in the country.
Scarlet Meadows.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, it's right out near New Hanover. Right, it's real quiet out there.
Sounds good. We're
We're
still
ready to go.
I
Already
think at the
packed.
hotel, they were picking up some drunken fellas that they was gonna rob.
Why?
It seemed easy. They have been gone for quite a while.
I guess I'll go see if there's any trouble.
Oh, there's Tilly over there. That does not look ideal.
Excuse me.
Sigma Arthur.
You thought I wouldn't find you, Tilly?
You can go kiss
Hey.
a damn snake for all I care.
Hey, boy.
Get your hands off her.
Come here.
Who are you?
A friend of
I'm
mine.
Arthur Morgan. Get the hell off of her, you son of a bitch.
Hey, take it easy.
Nah,
There's no problem here.
there
It
is.
will be if you don't get out of here.
I know who you
right
voted
now.
for. I'm shooting your wiener off.
You're making a big mistake, Tilly Jackson.
Just get lost.
Boy.
I ain't doing this with you right now.
Boys, get
Go
out.
wait with Uncle and Mary Beth. They're across the street.
Damn this!
Okay, chat. We're gonna run it back. Do I execute him? That's a good joke, Ender.
Get your hands off me.
Actually, might be one of the greatest jokes I've ever heard in my life.
You can go kiss a damn snake for all I care. Get off me. Get off of me.
I've been looking.
Get your hands off her, friend.
Who are you?
A friend of mine.
Get off her.
Or what exactly?
I'm gonna kill you, sick son of a
You
bitch.
want to find out?
Oh, Mead, have you had a chance to take a look at
You're making
my
a
socials
big
or
mistake, Tilly
any of my
Jackson.
shorts?
Just get
I
lost.
posted a new format
I
today.
ain't doing this with you.
Go
right
wait with Uncle and Mary Beth. They're across the street.
Okay. Thanks, Arthur.
This ain't for me.
I murdered him.
Schling! Schling! Okay, it's clear the game doesn't want me to actually time him out. So I can't take part in the Schliminating 5000. My granny got hit by a boat.
Get your hands off me.
You thought I wouldn't find you, Tilly?
You can go kiss a.
Get your hands
Check
off
TikTok.
her.
Most recent video on TikTok.
A friend of mine.
Get the hell off of her, you son of a bitch.
Hey, take it easy. There's
Well,
no
let me do a
problem
cool
here.
move.
There will be if you don't get out of here right
Hey,
now.
some bitch. Take a look at the gun.
You're making a big mistake, Tilly Jackson.
Just get lost.
I ain't doing this with you right now.
Go wait with Uncle and Mary Beth. They're across the street.
Okay. Thanks, Arthur.
Thank you for the 10 under. Sick son of a bitch.
Come on, get on your horse, motherfucker.
I'd advise you to stay away from me.
You gonna do, bad boy? Huh? Get walking. Come, get.
You're lucky we're in a busy town, you son of a bitch.
Am I?
Liberal. Yo, do you think people get like? Oh shit. Okay. Need to lock in. Need to lock in. I gotta stop. I was threatening him though. Hopefully Tilly appreciates the fact that I helped her. Okay, so wait, we're gonna read a quick chapter in the Bible.
Get your hands off me.
Thought I wouldn't find you, Tilly.
You can go kiss a damn snake for all I care. Get off me. Get off of me.
Hey, you sick son of a bitch. Take a look at this cool movie.
I got you now.
Hey,
Get your hands off her. Who are you?
A friend of mine.
Get the hell off
take a look at
her,
this.
you son of a bitch. Hey, take
Hey.
it easy. There's no problem here.
There will be if you don't get out of here right now.
Go on, put your hand on the strap. Go on, do something. Do
You're
something.
making a big mistake, Tilly Jackson.
Just get lost.
That's it.
I ain't doing this with you right now.
Go wait with Uncle and Mary Beth. They're across the street.
Okay.
I scared him, dude. He knows not to come back.
I'm going, ain't I?
Don't mess with me. You know who I am? I'm Arthur Morgan. I literally work at the Walmart soup center.
Hello there.
Shut up.
Come on, ladies. This sirloin will put a smile on your man's face guaranteed.
Madam.
Can I help you, sir?
Yes. You can.
No trouble now, please.
Oh, I'll cause a lot of trouble. I'll be kissing people. Further Oregon. Exactly.
Oh, get the hell out of here, will you?
Sorry. Wrong room.
Dude, he was shitting himself.
I'm getting what I paid for.
Hey,
Hey, you!
a friend of hers.
Get out of here, buddy. I paid.
Ain't paid to hit her, you goddamn animal. Come here.
Liberal.
What the hell are you doing here?
Trying to play him. Not very well.
You okay?
I stole $5 off of him.
You sure?
Yeah. Nothing to worry about. Just
Man.
man. But stupid bastard was boasting about the bank.
I'm gonna watch this guy shit.
Sure, I know small town banks are
Damn it.
usually a waste of time, but this is a livestock town. There's lots of cash sometimes.
Okay.
Everything's okay up there?
Keep investigating.
I will.
Don't talk to me ever again, compatriot. You sick son of a bitch.
After you.
You let literal Democrats in your goddamn building.
Thank you, Arthur.
You're welcome.
I don't much like being saved, but
Shut
when
up,
I have to
bitch.
be.
Shut up.
I understand.
You okay?
Slap,
Sure. He
slap,
only punched me.
slap,
The punch
slap,
him
slap.
a lot harder.
All right, then.
Hey, who's that guy over there looking at us?
Weren't you in Blackwater a few weeks back?
Me? No, sir. Ain't from there.
Oh, you were. Well, I definitely saw you with a bunch of fellers.
Me? No.
Not possible.
Listen,
Blackwater.
buddy, come here for a minute.
I saw you.
Come here.
Come on, get.
Ooh.
I don't like this. Me neither. Go get the girls home. I'm gonna go have a word with our friend.
I'm gonna have a word with him. I'm gonna have a quick
Just a
little
word.
conversation.
Yeah!
Please, somebody, be gentle.
Just borrowing it.
You stay away from me.
Get back here right now!
Come here, man from Blackwater. Man from Blackwater, you're gonna tell me why the water's black.
You stop right here!
Excuse me,
Oh, no trouble.
man from Blackwater.
That's far enough!
Come on. Yeah. Yeah.
Dumbass from Blackwater. I'm gonna rob your horse real quick, boy.
Why are you telling lies about me?
No, no. I got it wrong, partner. I got it very wrong. Now, please help me up.
I ain't never been in Blackwater.
Then why are you chasing me?
I've got an unfortunate face.
Yes, yes, me too. Now, please, pull me up. Please.
Get an expert witness. Mr. Curtis. Curtis, you there? Oh, I'll take it as if he's not there. Let's go in a random VC somewhere. As someone. Okay. No VCs. Hill?
Please.
You know what?
Hands are slipping.
I'm gonna let him live. I've never actually let
Alright.
him live. I've always
Come
killed
on.
him. I'm curious as to what I get out of this.
You okay, partner?
No. No, I am not. I'm a mess.
Well, you ain't dead.
There is that. Jimmy Brooks.
I think it's best for both of us if we pretend this never happened.
Well, I agree.
What happened?
You saved my life.
Oh, I did.
You're a good man, and here. You want a pen? It's one of them.
Hell
steel
yes!
Oh. That's very kind of you. But I'm not a good man, Jimmy Brooks. Not usually. You see, I was in Blackwater. I killed people.
What?
And maybe I should have killed you.
Dude, no. Arthur was in
Should I have
Blackwater?
killed you, Jimmy
Oh,
Brooks.
oh my god.
Me?
I don't believe it. I don't believe Arthur was in Blackwater.
Never saw you. Not now, not never. I think we have an understanding.
Of course we do. Jimmy Brooks. I will remember that. I've got a good memory.
I haven't. I haven't.
Have a good one,
Not
Jimmy
one
Brooks.
lick. Not 1 cent in this year old mind. Come on. Come on. You have a nice day now, sir.
Hold up, Jimmy Brooks. Jimmy Brooks. Jimmy Brooks.
I thought we were done with this.
I had to prank Jimmy Brooks rapidly. You know, I'm sure you understand. Sometimes you just gotta put people on edge. Jimmy Brooks, exactly. I actually believe that's his legal name. Jimmy Brooks. Book.
Yeah. Every time.
Alright. Time to start working on some of the collectibles. Need to do the museum. What's the dog? I hear him barking.
Is something wrong?
Yes, you.
What's going on? What the hell you think you're doing?
Dog.
Hello, boy.
Morgan. You want me to pay you?
You okay, boy?
Oh, you want me to pay you? Oh, you want me to pay you? Okay, alright. You're beating me down. You're beating me down.
Hey, boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good guy Arthur loves dogs. Arthur might be one of the greatest guys I've ever met. Chip?
Out of the way!
Marinos. Some more Marinos. the chickers. I hear them doing the pluck pluck chicken sounds. I hear the pluck plucks. Oh, I don't see them. I think they gone off to vote for Sleepy Joe. Ender, what do you think? Should I continue along with the story, or should I do some of the side quests? Some of the ranger stuff. Do we have new chickens? Yeah? Okay, I'll go do some. You're a chicken. Not chicken. Yeah. I'm gonna go grab my rental.
What did I do to you?
Live. Dumbass fucking sheeps, bro. They could've just escaped. Okay, there's the syrup.
Okay, then.
I know all the serial killer stuff is like put all over the place. Something I should be able to run. Enter its torso somewhere. I know there's something I'm supposed to be able to rob. That has like the next clue to this. Oh, there it is.
Whoa. You poor bastard.
Should I? I'm gonna do this first. If I can get this out of the way, that's good. I actually really like the serial killer stuff. I believe I need to complete that. There's a story piece I need to actually do. He was. Yeah, the horse was a torso. Right, bitte? Lord? Hello, Steve. No, the game ends. Don't worry, I won't spoil it. I do not know. I don't know how the game ends. I do. I'm just trying to 100% the game at the moment. Like, getting every little thing possible. So every collectible, not just the achievement, but everything done. So. You should follow. You should sub to keep an eye out. Streams, man. Check them over to Twitch. I'll be doing this quite a lot.
Evening, Arthur.
So, big ore.
Evening, Arthur.
Evening.
Yes!
Hey, bro.
Arthur, you know, I think we're gonna be okay.
Sure, but what next?
Haiti,
All
Dutch.
that money lost in Blackwater.
We have licked our wounds long enough. We do what we do. We make more money, and before they even realize that we're here, we're gonna be gone again.
And after that,
I ain't losing to these fools.
Yep, everything.
Arthur, you know me better than that.
100%.
We get to work here. We make money, and then we head back out west to freedom. Oh, I ain't wavering, son.
Like, not a single thing will be missed. Be a challenge.
Hi, Karen. Uncle.
What a delightful surprise. Hello, Karen. Hello, Miss.
you did good in town, finding out about that train.
Hey, Arthur.
Hey, Jose, I'm busy. I'm going to see my wife. On Twitch, hell yeah, Mark. Welcome, bro.
Yep.
Like I said, I'll be playing this from start to finish, so I'm looking forward to you being part of this, man. Thank you. God. I have my temperature on this game set to normal. Yeah, so that means filling up the entire compendium. It's gonna be fun. I've already started the bones. Kind of fur.
Yeah.
I was usually like right there.
Train.
Hell with it all. That's... Oh, hey there.
Hello.
Why don't you join me and have a seat over here by the fire? Oh,
Look you down.
by the fire.
What we doing with that? Son bitch.
Bone dry. Sins I'm carrying around. You won't even believe, but if I had a little whiskey to loosen up my tongue a little, I might tell you.
Ooh. Ooh.
Here.
Hey. I hear tea, bro.
Only fitting that I'd be drinking the devil's brew. I'll be seeing him soon enough.
That's something. Well,
You're
Yes.
a place called Four Rigs?
I do everything, and I mean
South of Strawberry.
every single thing
Captain.
that I can do in this. So every single one of these are gonna be 100. Well, this is gonna be 261. This is gonna be 100. This is gonna be 90. Right? Like this entire thing is gonna be 100%, and just not beyond the completion thing. Because it's not just for the achievement, right? This is for literally everything you need to do. So I'm gonna be doing every single cigarette set, every single collectible in here, right? The dream catchers, all the equipment, all the fish, all the gangs, all the weapons, plants, reach maximums, max out horse bonding, you know, every single shack. Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. I mean everything. Like every single one of these squares will be filled out. Yep. 100%. Everything filled out. So it's gonna be, you know, whatever out of 561. Like it's gonna be 561 out of 561.
Indians penned in there like cattle. I ain't know what's worse. Seeing the ones we killed or watching the other ones die the slow way. Well, they pay well. Them government boys. But the money don't last long. It's what you did. Sticks around.
I know the feeling.
I was a young man then, but I still see them faces clear as yesterday. I do.
Well, that's hard, partner.
I might rest a little last minute. Feeling very sleepy all of a sudden.
P25. Oh, I do. You know what? I'm down for it. I think it's gonna be a fun grind. But what I get out of it is like I play this game so many times. I know the story back and forth. So I get to read it. Make sure you're nice and warm. Thank you, man. Hey, join the Discord, you know, you're in the Twitch. You can follow upon the entire journey, man. It's gonna be a long journey, but I think it's gonna be worth it. Oh, and I also have to end it on high honor.
Yep.
I cannot be low honor, I have to be high honor.
Yep. Yeah.
I would say though, I think the biggest pain in the ass I'm gonna have to deal with is the gonna be the White Arabian. Like the hardest horse to get in the fucking game. If you fuck it up once, I think it's gone. And I think it's only unlockable after chapter 5? So I'm gonna be basically staying in chapter 1 as long as I can until I have to progress forward. So like I gotta complete every single one of like the missions that you have to do for like individual people.
Yeah.
I already killed one of you. I honestly can't picture doing this in one sitting though. If you fuck it up. I did once. I'll have to give it a shot. Chapter 2, huh? Okay. I'll do as much stuff as I can in chapter 1 and then move on to chapter 2. Do the next body part somewhere around. What the fuck? So, Possum, I know you're not actually fucking dead. I know about your deviant trickery.
Giddy up. Yep. Yeah.
I believe so. That's fine. I'll pay it. Okay, Mr. Skunk, I'll let you live, actually. I like you guys. Skunks are cute.
Slow up now.
They smell terrible, but God, they're cute. What was a waiting? Am I losing it? I could have sworn there used to be a way to get inside. Oh no, no, this call it, yeah. There's like a fake interior. There isn't actually an interior.
Yeah. Easy now.
Leo Driscoll's got this bridge, feller.
Oh,
You best clear off.
gentlemen, please.
You'd beat the O'Driscolls on this patch. Show me your head where the blow it on. You won't be buried deep, but...
Goddamn idiots. Should've let me cross.
Also, pick up pretty much every gun. I believe I gotta pick up every single gun. Yeah, I just don't remember where they are, but I know there's a bunch. It's finding them. Is there, do you know if there's any on chapter 1 though? I don't remember. Yeah, shit. Yeah, Overlook is chapter 2. My bad. Yes, I'm in Horseshoe. I don't count Coulter as chapter 1. I kind of count it as like a prologue. The chapter. You know, like as a prologue of sorts. But yeah, I'm in Horseshoe. I have the gold one, which I believe I got from the boat, the art train robbery.
Yeah.
I already killed. Already killed one of you. Yeah, they called him the dwarf there. Like, I don't have any in this room. I'm just go there. I'll just slowly go through the chapters as much as I can.
Yep.
But I already know. I'll look at the video. It'll be a pain. Right now I'm doing the serial killer stuff. I know it's a bridge around here. For the executions.
Okay, boy. Yeah.
What the? Why don't you mind your business and keep walking, huh?
That's right. Run
We
along
told
now.
you once, damn it.
Take it easy. Hope you boys chose a full safe.
I can just roll back if I do. I'm not too stressed about. I think everything after the fact shouldn't. Iron-o! Iron-o!
Not a bad haul. Go on now. Okay, boy. Yeah.
Here. Out. Yeah, so I want to take advantage to do a lot of like the things that I know I'm probably gonna miss out on if I don't do them. As much I'm gonna have fun playing the. Alright, it's gonna be a lot of menial, boring searching. I want to collect every single fucking thing. Take a look. Progress. This. Keep. This. Skinning seems to be something I need. Has the skinned. I have to track, study, and skin, and kill. To do everything. So like I haven't tracked these guys. But when I shoot one, I go back. Okay. I'll just donate that to the camp.
Slow it up.
A wooden. Yeah, you can. Stop following them. Fuck you. A rock and then it's a bridge. A bridge on a rock and then it's continue forward into the forest.
Yeah.
Where's it? And
All right, boy. Yep.
way too long to do.
Come on.
I've started it, I believe. Oh, I have to. No, I haven't. Fuck. That's charge is a pretty lengthy process. Hey, Neil.
Mister. So, you heard anything about any, bounty hunters in these parts?
Couldn't say.
Yeah, I was just, wondering.
Take care.
Dick.
Let's go, boy.
Hey, get the hell out of here. I'm telling you, you need to
You
leave.
don't like visitors, huh?
Sir, please, calm down.
All right, simmer down. You're done now.
God, go in hell.
Don't move.
Sir,
You can't do this.
it did.
God
This is
damn it.
very kind of you.
Okay, here, boy.
For Christ's sake.
That's his basket.
Please help. Help.
I'm in a good mood, friend.
Let's...
Son of a bitch.
Fuck, you chasing me.
I'm gonna watch you die.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm done with you.
Oh yeah, you gotta be a villain. Oh, he died. Okay, so it's a bridge, a really shittily built wooden bridge going towards the forest. The person right now pulling the door that says push. That was me this morning, actually, when I got to work. Hello, chickens.
Yeah.
Of course, Mark. Of course I know. Oh. Liberal shooting detected. Liberal shooting detected.
Hey there, partner.
Oh, I love this guy.
You interested in a little friendly competition?
Fuck yes, I am.
You a shooting man? I've been looking for a challenge and I ain't found one yet.
Why
What'd
don't
you
we
say?
find out?
Good. Whoever shoots the most bottles wins, okay?
Okay.
All right. All right, Vic. Go. Oh, yes. Ah, damn it.
Hell yeah.
Maybe you were just outgunned.
I ain't happy with that, not one bit. What do you say we raise the stakes?
Yep.
You're wrong.
Well, that's what I like to hear. How about this? You shoot 4 birds out of the sky before me, we'll call it a day.
Okay.
All right, rules are simple. We're doing first to 4. You can count to 4, I hope. Stand close. As soon as you see them, start shooting. Wait for it. There they go now. Shoot!
Ah. That's a bet, though.
Not bad, but not good enough. Maybe next time.
Of course.
Oh, well, you tried, but you lost. And now you owe.
Here, enjoy it.
I
while
think
you
it's
got
important
it.
to pay him because I love gambling.
Until the next round, I suppose.
I think it's more important to be honest and just pay. But I take that as an advantage and go pick up some dead birds. Okay. I just need to study them. There we go. American Crow studied and skinned. Okay, now to do the serial killer stuff. I think I'm going the wrong way, but I could be wrong. I don't remember what. It's somewhere around here. There's like a shitty little made wooden bridge somewhere that leads me to the next clue for the serial killer. Man, I really hope nothing bad happens here. Ah.
Yeah.
I know near the old Civil War site where they did the fighting there, kind of like over here, there, out east, where the Panther is. Panther's up south. I know there's one over here. Oh,
A minute of your time.
okay, what's
Let's
up?
get us a closer look at this one here. Round here, strangers gotta cough up payment. Get down from there. You hear me?
Despite what you seem to think, I ain't one for charity.
Fools.
Alright. No, it's not foreshadowing. Or Mark, nothing happens to that field. It stays intact. Ooh. Ow. Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing. The game ends peacefully. You know, Arthur and the gang go to Tahiti, and Arthur marries the girl, and welcome back, Andrew.
Yep.
And they live happily ever after, and such a lovely ending to the game.
Brother. Okay, boy. Let's go.
Don't worry about it, Andrew. Mods? No, it's vanilla. Mark, come on, it's vanilla. Come back to that guy. I need to find the Battlefield. Oh, this game next month. It's worth it, dude. I'm gonna do 100% of Red Dead Online as well. Nil, if you want to join, and same with you, Mark. After I'm done the story mode, it's 100% online.
Yep.
Yeah, Ender, you can.
Easy. Whoa.
There it is. There's a clue. What is clue number 2?
Making a point with you. Huh?
There's one more. Hopefully.
Yep.
Yeah, I was planning on starting the ones with the guy at the bar there that you talked to. Up in Valentine. Why am I not safe from the 24-hour challenge? Just shit so bad the sea is quarantined. Finally, they're getting rid of you. About time. Well, we got clue 2.
Yeah.
You killed the CDC? No, they were underfunded anyways. Alright, we're gonna start making our way back. I know where the last clue is.
Yeah.
It's near his little hut, which his hut is in Valentine. No, not faulty respirators, Curtis. We've recently returned to the miasma theory, germ theory, woke stuff. The liberals came up with germ theory.
God damn drunk horse.
So
couldn't pay
You
no
okay?
attention. You there? Yeah. Would you watch my cargo here while I go find someone to deal with this?
Yeah. Of course.
I guess.
Thank you, sir.
No, Curtis, they would, because germ theory is not real. So if you put flowers in your mask, you should be fine.
I won't stop you.
I see alcohol on the ground. I jump right onto it.
Pay good money for what?
Blue box. Fruit. We're gonna immediately go drink. We're not gonna wait. Fuck that guy. Maybe he shouldn't have had a horse that has a drinking problem. Actually, it's not even a drinking problem. It's a drinking solution. My drinking is the solution to my problems. Because if I'm drinking heavily, I don't have any problems. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah.
Thank you. Rest in peace to my granny. She got hit by a bazooka. I think about it every time I hit the hookah. Guys, I'm thinking about starting my rap career. What do you guys think? Hey, Nil, you're so loyal, bro. I know you'd take that take, bro. Dub. I'm a genius. I just be thinking of your name. Oh, wait. A horse. Hey, partner. I just look at your there steeds. Oh, okay. Give us a freestyle about Claudia's files. Oh, I said that I don't have a drinking problem. It's a drinking solution because all my problems go away when I drink. Are you sure that's still an L take, Curtis? That's still an L take? I have a freestyle about the Claudia's files? Shit. I was sitting in the council baths. Yeah, no. My rap career is over before it even fucking started. Macaron cheese. Yo, Curtis, I heard a rumor about you. Some crazy rumor. Yo, you think I can trade Pokemon cards in this building? Game fruit. Game fruit. Or the biscuits. Hey. Thanks for at least joining for a little bit, bro. Did you join the Discord though? You know, to know next time I go live. Hey, whenever. It's just whenever you get on Discord, it's just /Tubec, TUBC. That's literally all it is. It's like Discord.gg/TUBC. Alright? Hey, but thanks for stopping by, man. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll either be playing this again tomorrow or another game. So thanks for at least stopping by for a bit here. So I'm shading you the show while trying to give it. God damn. Why you gotta cook me, Bill? Why you gotta cook me?
Yeah.
No. Take it. Take it like a man. You said that shit. You'll be the cause of me's execution.
Hell yeah, boys!
You want to go the other way.
Put him down!
There'll be nothing left of you when we're through.
Shoot him!
We can get closer.
Fuck. Hey, you go for full general. You're brother. When I say full, I mean full. Everything. Wallah, bro. Every single little thing possible.
Yep.
Even if it's like the most obscure fucking thing in the game, it's happening. It's gonna make one hell of a video once it's done too. Hey, good night, man. Thanks for stopping by. I'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Oh, lucky fuck. I'm about to go like AFK real quick to go grab some bread with some butter on it and dip it in some maple syrup. A true Canadian delicacy. Is it? You're right, dude. I gotta be doing a lot more. It's gotta be Canadian maple syrup, though. It can't be American maple syrup. Sadly, Aunt Jemima can't be involved. Gotta be Canadian maple syrup.
Easy,
If you do it with American maple syrup, it's just blasphemous at that point. You might as well take a knife and fucking stab me through the heart. Say you hate me. 6 or 7. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yes, Miss Motherword is a scam. You can easily make maple butter, like butter maple syrup. Oh shit, gross. Those are really hard to find in this game, so. Sorry, buddy. He fucking lived?
Yeah.
Or did I just blow him to smithereens? Bro, what the fuck? Tree tickler is real. I think so. Pause. That's like, that's right there, so it's good about that. Vsauce Mike is here. Where are your balls? Well, Michael from Vsauce. It's Garno here. I ate them.
Yeah.
There's the beat. Yes. It's mandated by God. No. It's been determined.
Lily May.
Lily May.
Lily May.
Lily.
Hey, mister.
Hey, son.
I just want to be left alone,
Oh.
all right?
Son, son, speak to me.
A sentiment I'm familiar with. Fair enough, kid.
Kid, let me take you out of your misery right here, right now.
Come on, mister. This here's my patch. I'm using it.
Son, please. Let me take you out of your goddamn misery.
Strutting around, nose in the air,
She's a whore, son.
holding hands with that dump.
Not the dump. Son, you know, you're a far ways off road from Valentine. What if she's getting her...
Kid.
Son, he's probably getting her shit swacked out by some man right now. All 6, 7 of them.
You wait, Lily May. Well, someday,
Yeah.
I'll show you.
You'll show her?
I'll be rich.
Oh, really?
A nice, big house.
Really?
You'll be begging me to court you.
Really? Man, I wish I was Lily May. Oh, don't be a little bitch.
Lily May.
You care about this girl? Stand up for yourself. She'll come around.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've been waiting.
Do it, pussy.
Trust me, kid. There ain't so many good men out there. Make yourself one of the good ones.
Thanks, mister. I hope you're
Oh.
right.
I'm always right, liberal. Excuse me, enemy. Oh, I think those are law. So I'm gonna go crack a Lily May. Break her bike. Break her bike. We will. We will. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that I tell you we will. You know me, my dimension. But we will, yeah. Actually, I'm adding it to the 24-hour stream roster. When you do a campaign, I'll guarantee it that day.
Easy now.
Exactly. I hate that shit. It happens too much.
This some sick trend.
Son, I know where exactly you are. Oh, I know where you are. Exactly where you are. Yep. Oh, I'm gonna do things to you. I'm gonna do them for May. A sweetheart. Billy May. Billy May. Go ahead and call. She holds my penis. Oh, she holds another man's penis.
Yep.
Wait. No. Hold up. Actually, I hold my penis while you hold another man's penis, and I can't even be in the room. That's how me and Willie Mae's relationship is like so strong for all these years. You can leave with whoever the hell she wants. Get away! Everyone! Oh, Jesus! What the signal?
Someone help me! Easy there, easy.
Good afternoon, friend.
Oh, Jesus! Please! I can't take this pain! I'm all slack.
Got some medicine. Better than nothing.
Damn it, that won't help! Look at me! I'm bleeding out here. Can't. Stay, I can't hold. I get her.
Well, just gonna look for some ID there. Oh, yep, I found some ID. Well, I'm gonna go report his death to the law. Up, you wheel up, get ass up, and run up, down. I low key think that So's gonna win, bro. Not looking too good. I already won against the F-22 this morning. He was chasing me while I was going to work. I just said, "Stop there, liberal." Gave up. Rendered. Man, I really hope I catch up with Lily Mae. Lily Mae's like my wife. Oh,
Easy, boy, you're okay.
but I'm gonna get you, Lily Mae.
Look out!
Hey,
Out there, mister.
Onward. Okay, the only intercept you have actually by me as well. Intercepted a F-22 this morning. Actually, I captured it. Not a lot of people know this, but I caught one in my backyard right now. I'll send you a picture of it. Actually.
Easy.
Right, put on the shicey. We're going full bow on this one. This house.
Okay, there.
That's a mystery in itself, but we're gonna get in there. Forgot we had the mask on. Come with me. Well, kindly comings and goings. Flowers. There's a close. Hope taste and companionship. So keep in mind, like, all this loving and concerned mother. So if you're hoping, I hope you're eating and sleeping. And oh man, I think you raised a bad guy. Holy fuck. What the hell?
Have you come for me? Or was this all nasty surprise. Or maybe it's both. Maybe it is a nasty surprise, even though you knew I was going to be here. Which is it? You should think about that. Save yourself thinking about what's about to happen. Now, I'm not going to lie. It's not going to be nice and fun. I mean, it'll be fun for me, but it won't be nice for you. At least, no one's found it nice so far. Oh!
Wasting my time.
Here go to his pine.
Found that fella you were looking for?
Which fella? Put him down. Put him down.
Enough of this.
Fella been... Well, it ain't nothing nice. A lot of folk disappeared over the past few years. This sick son of a bitch, well, he ain't right in the head.
That's so.
Head over to the cellar of that broke-down shack on the road to the falls. See for yourself.
Okay, come on, you.
My name is Edmund. Edmund Lowry, Jr. And you'll remember that, my friend.
I'm sure I shall. You are a frightening fella.
Oh, I'll behave, sir. I'll behave as expected.
Well, you better. And I'll get you a lawyer, don't you worry about that. And you get in that cell, calm as you be. Get him off me! Oh, thank you. Oh. Thank you. My lord. What a monster.
Yeah. Well, like I said, have someone head up to his cabin. I think he killed quite a few.
Oh, there's a lot of sick bastards out there. But here. Here's some money for your trouble.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Now
$1
we gotta
million.
get this body out of here.
just got $100. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, there we go. Oh, Arthur, come here, come over here. I want you to meet our friends.
Pleased to meet you.
Well, ain't you just a tough as teak mountain man?
Oh, you be quiet, Anastasia. Anyone can tell this one is a pussy cat.
Exactly. Yes, he's a pussy cat. Ain't that so, Arthur?
Whatever you say. How much you cost, anyway?
Well, ain't that a nice way to talk to a lady?
Oh, I didn't know I was talking to a lady.
Excuse me.
Rude.
Well, I must say, you got a fine way with the women, amigo.
Yeah, regular dandy and a charmer. Where's Bill?
Oh, man. I dread to think about it. Hey! There he is.
Watch where you're going. Take it
Are
easy,
you about to
pal.
kiss that guy or
Take it
punch
easy,
him?
huh?
Oh, and we have our answer.
Come here, you.
Oh.
These bastards. Oh, come on. We can handle these fools. Come on,
This is a peaceful brawl between friends.
Let's finish this. Next time, avoid me.
You tell me it. What the hell's going on down here?
Holy shit.
Tommy, stay out of this. Come here, you little greaser. I'll make you go away. Yeah, I hit like a kill.
You son of a bitch.
There you go.
Took him down.
Give Javier a hand over there.
Hey, tough guy.
You want some too, huh?
Oh, dang.
Come on, pretty boy.
Pretty boy, you're kidding me. Pretty boy?
Oh.
I'll crack your damn skull open. I said this be fun, didn't I?
You're even slower than you look.
Whoa.
You okay there, Arthur? Yeah. I got this son of a bitch.
Oh.
Let's go, Arthur.
What a violent man.
You must be.
Oh.
I hope you got more than that.
That's right.
Show 'em how we do it downtime.
Kill that pea-brain, Morgan.
Oh.
You show him, Tommy.
There.
Finish him, Tommy.
Stop! Please!
I beg.
I beg you, stop. Come, sir. You won the fight already. Surely that's enough.
What business is it of yours?
No business. No business, sir, but please, I beg you. Sir, you all right?
I think I won the fight. Defeated.
Making new friends again, I see, Arthur.
Trelawney.
Look who we found sniffing about.
Josiah Trelawney.
The very same.
Well, I thought you'd gone to New York.
And miss all this glamour. You must be joking.
How are you?
Well, quite well indeed. I went to Blackwater looking for you gentlemen. You're not very popular there, it seems. Ah, Javier and Charles. I've missed you. And Bill looking as well as can be. Gentlemen, always a pleasure.
You're right. We ain't too popular in Blackwater.
We left a lot of money there.
And young Sean, it seems.
Sean, you found him.
Yes, I have. He's being held by some bounty hunters, trying to see how much money the government will pay them. I know he's in Blackwater, but there's talk of them moving.
Well, if we step foot in Blackwater... well, then we're dead men for sure.
There'll be Pinkertons all over the place, but if he's alive, we gotta try.
Yeah, of course.
It's you they want, Dutch.
Always is. Charles, go find out what you can, carefully. Josiah, take Javier. Arthur, go get yourself cleaned up. Join them when you're ready.
Well, what about me?
Well, exactly. What about you?
What does that mean?
Oh, Bill, come on.
Ooh. Oh boy. Well, guys, I gotta work on something. Put out during the next few days.
Come on, please! Please, somebody, be generous. Show you care. Come on, please, somebody. Oh, it's you. Hello,
mister.
sir.
Well, you're just full of charity, ain't you?
Well, I'm just trying to help where I can, sir.
Or interfere.
You would have killed that man.
What I do is none of your damn business, okay?
Okay, okay. Okay, sir. Give more! Please! Prove we ain't a land of savages. Prove we're here for each other.
Please, God, no.
$5.
It is in giving that we receive the true gifts of life that are eternal. Generously.
What the hell is wrong with you?
You borrow from the O'Driscoll boys.
What you staring
pay
at?
The
Move
Driscoll
along.
boys.
Right with you, I swear.
Well then, I guess
Move
you
along,
forgot
we'll get
about
you
the
next.
interest.
Just like you.
Walked away.
Defeated. Up here.
Come on, sir. Try to remember what really happened at Sylvia's Saloon back in '76.
Just a lot of bunk, Plato. It's just a lot of bunk.
It's not bunk, Mr. Calloway, sir. It's history.
Ancient history, done and dusted. The dead got off lucky, the living gotta keep suffering. Same as always.
But did you shoot the
Who's your
music
friend
player?
there?
Ha! Put that in your fucking book, Plato.
This is Jim Boy Calloway. The Jim Boy Calloway.
Who?
The gunslinger. Fastest left-handed draw that ever drew breath. He once killed 14 men in a fight at Lucy Hollow.
What are you waiting for?
How do you mean?
Well, I reckon right now, kill him yourself.
I don't want to kill him. I want to deify him. He's a god.
I'm trying to write his biography.
And how's that going?
I think I prefer the duel. Either I'd kill him and be able to be Baltimore's finest ever gunslinger, or he'd kill me and I could be set free from ever having to speak to him again.
Well, you're starting to understand something very important.
What's that?
The joys of gunslinging. It's win-win, freedom or glory.
That's brilliant. I'm gonna write that down, if I may.
Be my guest.
What's your name?
I don't have a name.
But you are a gunslinger.
Not really. I mean, folks who need shooting, I try and shoot in the back. All that other stuff, it's, well, bunk.
But you fought duels.
Once upon a time, I may have.
And you ain't interested in fame.
I don't think so.
Strange. But you like fortune.
I need money, sure.
Okay. Then forgive me, mister, if I seem a little desperate. I am a little desperate. This book, I've got to make a thing of it, and, well, there's a whole list of gunfighters. Legends, every last one. Emmett Granger. Flaco Hernandez. Billy Midnight. Black Bell.
Never heard of him.
Maybe you can go and speak to them. Ask them about Calloway. Any of them get uppity, shoot them. I can't believe I just said that, but...
You want me to go and find some sad, deluded fools like him, ask if he was the greatest, and then if they get uppity, shoot him?
Does sound a lot worse than it did in my head.
How much you paying?
Well, a lot. Half the proceeds of the book, if you help me get it written.
I'll see what I can do.
Ha! Oh, get photos.
Okay.
And there are notes on the back of those portraits that should lead you to him.
I'll see what I can find out.
I imagine we'll be stuck here upon your return. Here or some other flop house.
Come on.
Hey, man. All right, folks. I think we're gonna call it here for tonight. Have a good night.